Hey everybody, it's Booray from Tampa, Florida, and today we're going to take a look at the Viltrox 35mm 1.4 STM XF element OP and find out if this lens is worth the money. Before we get started, as always, don't forget to check out my website. Just go to boorayperry.com/education and you will find links there to everything you could ever want to know about me, including my ebooks, the 2 free ebooks that you can get from me, as well as the purchasable ones, which there is a huge discount code if you want to buy one of my ebooks, and it's right down there in the description, as well as a link to all of my gear. And if you go and you buy some gear from Amazon and you use my link, then I get a couple of dollars, and it helps me to keep this channel alive, and I really appreciate it. All right, we're going to talk about this nice little lens that came in the mail for me last week. Lo and behold, I just moved. I'm still in Tampa. I'm just a little bit different area of Tampa. And I just moved, and what should come in the mail but this lovely little prime 33mm lens for Fuji cameras. 33mm would be a 50mm lens if you're shooting with a full frame camera. And it's a 1.4 lens from Viltrox. And let me tell you something about Viltrox. Back when I was shooting full frame, when I was shooting Canon, it was like if you could, you had Canon lenses. And if you couldn't, you got Sigma. And if you couldn't get Sigma, you got Tamron. Like, when I first started, I had some Tamron lenses, and I quickly graduated to Sigmas and then to Canons. And nowadays, what's happened in recent years is that the Sigmas and the Tamrons have gotten much better. Like Sigma is making some real quality glass, for example, and Tamron is making some great lenses as well. And I feel like the same thing is happening with us X-shooters, when it comes to Viltrox and TT Artisan. I've got this Viltrox lens right here. Do I have it over here? Where's my TT Artisan? I think it's behind me. I've got a TT Artisan lens behind me. I'm going to be doing a video about that soon. I can't even show it to you because it's still embargoed. They haven't released it yet. So I have been pleasantly surprised every time I've gotten a lens recently. In the early days, it was hit and miss, but more and more now, I really feel like they're stepping up on these third-party lenses and giving you some good value for the money. Are they equal to the Fuji lenses? No. But they're also usually like 20% of the cost of a Fuji lens. It's not supposed to be equal to a Fuji lens. And if you go at it with that angle, if you go into it with that belief, then it really comes to a question of value. Is it worth the money? So I will say right off the bat that this is a nice construction on the Viltrox lens. It's heavy duty, a lot of metal in this lens, and that feels great. One of the things I don't like is Viltrox does with, I think with all of their lenses, is that they are putting the aperture ring on the lens, which is great because there are people who are making lenses for the Fuji cameras that aren't doing this, and I know it saves them money, but I think that it's a hindrance for those of us who shoot Fuji. We are used to being able to change the aperture on the lens, and so if you're going to make lenses for us, it's a good idea to keep that function for us, especially because if it's not there, we're going to have to go in and change something perhaps in our settings so that we can, and you don't have to change your settings every time you change your lens, right? So it's good that they do that. Now the downside is it's still not clickable, so this doesn't click at all. It's a smooth turn, so you don't know where you are without looking through the viewfinder. I mean, you can guess by looking here, but you really need to look through the viewfinder to know where you are. And there's a tangible thing that comes with experience where you just know your clicks. Every click is a third of a stop. And you go to take a picture and you're like, this isn't going to be what I want. Click, click, click. And you're a stop. You know that, right? With this, there's no click, click, click. And the other thing is they put this ring so deep in the barrel. So deep in the barrel. Let me put this on my my Fuji XH2, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now I've got a cage on this camera, and I have a video about why I have a cage on this camera. But if you look at this, for me to get my fingers around this right here, see the cage, right? See how tricky it is for me to get in here? It's kind of tricky for me to get in there. And the other thing is that the ribbing for everyone's pleasure, the ribbing stops when you get to the numbers. So when you reach on top to make a change, if your thumb, for example, hits here, you don't have a grip. So you've got to come here if you want to get the ribbing, right? So there's no grip here. So if I could change this, I would move this forward and I would make it to where it was grippable all the way around. So it would maybe wider. You know, in contrast, look at the focus ring. So if you're a manual focus person, this is great, but I almost never use manual focus. So we've got this huge manual focus ring, like you would think this is a zoom lens, how big this is. So there's this huge manual focus ring and this little tiny pushed all the way to the back, not fully ribbed aperture control. Which one of these two controls are you going to use more often? I know which one I'm going to use more often. It's going to be this one, right? So we can take this could literally be this size, right on the front. And then this could be right here in the middle, maybe somewhere, and easier to manipulate. So that's a downside of this lens. The upside is it's good construction. And the images, well, are the images an upside? Well, oh, here's the other big upside we have to mention. It's $279. Yeah, yeah. Whoo! That's the huge upside, isn't it? $279 for a 1.4 33 millimeter lens for a Fuji camera. There's no excuse for you not to. If you want to be a guy who shoots prime, or a girl, or anyone, and you want to shoot prime lenses, there's no, money is never an excuse anymore. Because you can go get Viltrox or TT Artisan lenses. Viltrox, I'm very good. And you can get everything that you need. And you can get it at a very, very good price. So let's take a look at some images and see if this is worth the $279. So the first thing I do anytime I've got a new lens is I go and I sit down and I shoot close-up images with it. So here's the thing. When I am looking at a prime lens, especially if it's a wide open lens like a 1.4, I'm going to do the majority of my testing with the camera lens wide open. Because the whole point of buying a 1.4 lens is that you want to shoot at 1.4. So a lot of lens people will say, well, there's no problems at 2.8. Yeah, well, there's no problems at 2.8 with a zoom lens, and I get the convenience of a zoom. So I'm really going to test every lens that I get at its wide open aperture. First glance, this is beautiful, right? This is wide open, 1.4. If we come in at 100%, here it is. I'm happy with this, right? You can see it falling off. You can see a lot of detail in here, some detail in the edges. This is nice. This is a nice image at 1.4 for $279. So let's get in and really start to take a look. So here's the Sharpie pencil at 1.4. A little soft. Now, how soft is it? Well, let's go to 4.0. All right. So here's 4.0 and here's 1.4. So now we're starting to, woo, yeah, right. Now to be perfectly fair, this is a round-barreled pen, and at 1.4, you're going to start to have some fall off in your focus pretty quickly off your focus point. My focus point is right on the word Sharpie. But even with the fall off, still, if you look here, it's just nowhere near as crisp as 4.0 is. So let's move to the next one. This is a gravel path. And again, if you're looking at this image, the whole image, I don't have a single problem with the focus on the path, on what is in focus. And if you zoom in tight, and this is at 67%, that's still good. Right? I would not be unhappy with this at all. This is 100%. This is still good. I mean, if I wanted to sharpen it up a little bit in post, I could, but still, this is 100% usable. If you're doing detail shots or really, really close images. Yeah, I don't have a problem with this at all, and it's clean all the way across, left to right. Yeah, so I'm not pretty impressed. I'm very impressed with this at 1.4. So, let's take a look at the bokeh. I'm sorry, let's take a look at the vignetting. All right, so this is at 1.4 and this is at f4. So you can really see when you go wide open, look down here in this left corner right here. See this? All right, so this is f4, and then when you go to 1.4, bam, here comes the vignette. Hello, hello, hello. Look at the darkness in the corners. There's no doubt that if you're going to shoot with this wide open at f1.4, you are going to get some vignette. Again, easily correctable in post, but you're going to have to deal with it. And then comes our old friend, the purple fringe. So here we are at f1.4, and let's get in there nice and tight at 100%. And oh my goodness. Hello, go Tigers. Those of you from Louisiana will understand that reference. The Tigers colors are purple and gold. Purple and gold? Yeah, purple and gold. From LSU. Look at the purple fringing. Now let's go back and look at the F4. Boom. Yeah. Wow, that's huge. That's a lot of purple fringe compared to this. You know, but do you just accept purple fringe? Even if we get rid of it, let's go over here and turn down and defringe. So even if we defringe it, look, there's F4 and there's 1.4. Still a ton of purple fringing. So that's just something you're going to have to live with at 1.4 with this camera. But for $279 to be able to get this, can you live with the purple fringing and a little bit of vignetting? I think I could. Don't get me wrong. If you're a professional, right? Let's say you're a pro photographer and you shoot weddings or portraits or whatever, then you would probably want to go with a lens from Fuji, which is going to cost you, $800, maybe $1,000 or something along those lines. But if you're an amateur or you're just a hobbyist and you want to build a kit with some nice primes in it, because just for having fun and that sort of thing, if sitting in front of your computer and fixing things a little bit in post is not a chore to you, but rather a joy and part of your hobby, then absolutely this is a serious contender for your kit. Because when you look at what Viltrox has available now, you could build your kit with 3 good prime lenses from Viltrox. Not the best lenses you've ever had, but good lenses from Viltrox. Good. They'll do the job for you. There'll be a little work afterwards. And you can build your whole kit with 3 good prime lenses. For your lenses would cost you maybe $900, maybe $1,000 out of pocket, less than you would spend on one lens, right? Less than you would spend on one lens if you were buying like a Fuji lens. So in that respect, it's absolutely worth the money. Yeah, for $279, yes, absolutely, it's worth the money. And when I see lenses like this, the thing that makes me excited about them is, like when I go on vacation and stuff, you can see it back there in the corner maybe. I don't know, my Fuji X100V is back there. I've got the new Fuji X106 is on order, by the way. I'm waiting, like everyone else is. When I go on vacation, I want a very small kit. I want it to be light and somewhat versatile, which is, you're not real versatile when you're taking the fixed lens camera back there. But I'm thinking now, like if I was going to build a kit now for vacation, if I was going to build a kit that I want to grab it when I'm on my way out the door just to go do something, and I want to have a little kit with me, I want to have some versatility, then I would probably put a Fuji X-T30 in there. And then I would put 1, 2, or 3 Viltrox lenses in there. I'd put like this 33, that's my 50 millimeter, that's my middle. I'd put like a 56 in there, which is like an 80. And then I'd put a really wide one. If they make like a really wide one, like a 12 or something like that. And then you'd have you'd have 3 ranges. You'd spend less than $1,000 on your lenses probably, and you're off to the races. Bob's your uncle. No idea what that means. I just know people say it in England. Hello, England. So my final ruling on this lens is yes. This is a $279 lens. It is absolutely worth every penny of the $279 that you're going to spend on it. In fact, it would be worth it if it costs more, because you are going to find more expensive lenses that are still going to have problems with things like purple fringing and things like vignetting. So yeah, absolutely. Nice, sturdy construction. But Viltrox, listen to me now. Viltrox, listen. You need to move this thing. You need to make it bigger and easier for us to get our giant pumpkin hands onto. It's just a little too tiny. And I understand not having the clicks in there, because if you use this as a cinema lens, you don't want to make any noise, so I'll give you that. That's why you don't have any clicks in there. But it needs to be easier to grab. It needs to be forward. It needs to be bigger. Other than that, yeah, good job. We have so many great options now. All right, that's it. I got to get out of here. Thanks for watching. As always, be sure to check out the rest of my channel, and be sure and click the links that are down in the description and check out all of my gear and all of my reviews, and I'll see you next time.